out in the shed after work. It's actually quite late now. It's not too cold tonight. I think we're starting to head past the worst of winter now. Saying that, there's probably going to be a few more frosts. But it's been raining. I want to go back inside. Milo wants to go back inside. But I've just managed to separate the crankcase halves. And this was a bit of a mission. This is where I discovered somebody has been in here before because some of the screw heads were buggered. So I had a bit of a job getting some of the screws out. One I had to cut a slot in. Another one I had to use mole grips on to undo it. I'll look at replacing these when the time comes. The gearbox, not the gearbox, sorry, the oil pump, that kind of bolts on there, and that's held by 3 countersunk screws. It does mention those are tight and you may need an impact driver to get them out. That's a bit tricky for me. I've got an impact driver, but I don't have any impact Japanese JIS driver bits, so I may need to get hold of some of those. A couple of those screws looked like they were already a bit buggered anyway, and I actually ended up drilling one. I didn't have to drill all the way through. I drilled the buggered bit out and was then able to kind of jam a normal impact bit into there and undo it that way. So I'll need to replace those as well. That one came out okay. I'm thinking what I'll do is when I replace these, because they're inside the engine, I'll use high tensile Allen head type bolts because I think I can do those up nice and tight. There's the gear selector. Similar on the clutch housing here. One of the bolt heads on that, they're special flanged bolts, was rounded off, so I had a struggle to get one of them out as well, but I managed to do that. Probably get new clutch springs for it. This is the clutch itself. This all looks pretty good, but I will get new clutch friction plates for it, just because they're relatively easy to get, because these were used on different models of bike. Luckily the clutch basket isn't all knackered on the edges there. There's a little bit of a marking, but nothing too bad. So that all looks really good. It doesn't look like it's been overheated. Yeah, getting the housing off was a real pain in the neck. I just wasn't getting anywhere. And this is where these, I hate these. Well, I like them and I hate them. Those sort of tear down videos or the restoration videos where they take something like this and they strip it down and make it all look beautiful and put it back together in no time flat. And it's just not like that. So I was struggling, and then I realized I've missed a couple of bolts. There's some bolts that go down in these long holes, so I undid those, and then I was able to crack the halves. But even then, in those restoration videos, they'll show you undoing the bolts with an impact gun, which I don't do that. I try not to resort to the impact unless I have to, so I try them by hand first. That's what this was. Luckily, I've got my new metric socket set because it had nice thin wall 10mm ones to get down in there. And even with all the bolts out, it still took a lot of tapping, and I was using my little rubber plastic hammer. The manual basically says just gently tap around it and break the seal and then the cover will come off. And no, I fought it every sort of ½ millimeter of the way. I was tapping with my little wooden block, trying to find little flanges to tap on, avoiding the one that's cracked, of course, which is, I can't even tell which one it is now, this one. So I was able to tap under there. At the bottom here, there's a little lip, tap under there. And eventually I got the thing to come off. So that means I can clean this half up and I can get in there to weld it. I'm not going to be able to get on the inside very easily, so it is just going to be a matter of blobbing weld on the outside, but I feel a lot happier doing it with this out, this off. I do have new gasket set coming. The bearings so far all seem good, so I don't think I need to do anything there. I may replace some of the oil seals, mainly around the gear shifter, I think. There don't seem to be too many others, to be honest. Maybe in the housing there were some for the Kickstarter. I have to have a look. The inside of it is okay. I mean, it's a little bit sludgy, but nothing too bad. A big blob of sludge did fall out though, so that was obviously sitting in the bottom of the engine somewhere. That's a clip. It was just sitting loose in the bottom of the engine. I'm not sure where that's from. The bottom of this is held by a clip. I'll have to check and make sure it's still in there. But that looks like that's been there for a while. I don't think that's something I've just done. Yeah, it was kind of sitting down in there. So I'll give this all a good degreasing. The main bearings all seem fine. And the big ends seem fine, which is good, because I have no idea how you'd get that apart. I don't think you can. I don't want to consider any of that, so I'm going to leave all of this as clean as possible. Obviously, I'll clean it out on the inside, just degrease it, and carb clean, and clean up the gasket surfaces. But it's really interesting. I've never actually seen a sequential motorcycle gearbox like this before. So this is the selector drum with its little slots, and here's all the little forks with the arms that ride in the drum. And it's quite interesting just watching how it works. So you can see all the gears and the little gear dogs, and as you move the drum, the arms move everything backwards and forwards. You have to get the little dogs to line up. It's quite fascinating. I've never looked inside a motorcycle one before, so I haven't been able to find neutral so far. It must be in here somewhere. It's interesting that one doesn't go. Oh, maybe that's why. Does that one move? No. Well, anyway, I don't need to know exactly how it works. It just does, and it's all there, and it looks pretty clean. So that's good. There's no damaged gear teeth or anything like that. I'm worried about that little pin that I found now. I wonder if it is off the bottom of this. But like I say, I don't want to take all of this apart to have a look. So clutch plates I need to buy. New hardware, that'll be interesting. Some other parts arrived today, so new sprocket, that'll be interesting when I put that on. You can see, here's the original, that's the original one, and you can see that the ends of the teeth are worn to points, whereas on this one there's a little flat there, so that is worn out. So that'll go on. Big sprocket, which is one tooth smaller, I believe, than stock, because that's what I was able to get easily. New chain. What else? I think that's it. Is that it, Milo? I think so. So all of this will get a clean up. I have been cleaning up some of the other bits and pieces, the housings. That's been in the ultrasonic again today. Given this a clean up. I don't think I'm going to polish things. I might give it a quick going over with a brass brush, but that's about it. I'm not going for that highly polished look. And my air cleaner has been sitting in this, it's very weak phosphoric acid, but it's actually taking the paint off, which is good. It's not affecting the metal too much, and it's removing the paint, so I'll strip all that paint off and repaint that soon. and somebody did suggest a couple of useful links for me. I've just realized this is starting to rust. This is the problem in winter, so I need to oil that. Anyway, there is another good rust removing process. Backyard Ballistics shows how to do it using citric acid and washing soda, and you make up a solution, and then it basically forms a chelation. I can't remember how you pronounce it. Same sort of reaction that evaporust does, where it's not an acidic reaction. It's a different chemical reaction that will eat the rust and not impact the base metal so much. It's the acid-based ones, so I'm going to give that a try. And there's also another solution you can make up using xylene or isopropyl alcohol and wintergreen oil, which will soften rubbers. So I've ordered some of that, and I'll use that to soften the carb, these things. Apparently that works pretty well. This is the primary gear. It says keep them in the right order. That's why they're stacked like that. There's this little pin, and that little pin goes through that hole, and then there is a little piece somewhere. Hopefully I can figure out where all these go back together. Anything that's kind of critical I've kept pretty organized, but somewhere in there's a little piece that fits in the end of the crank. Is kind of driven by that, and it rubs on this, I believe. It looks like where it would have been rubbing. So I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that is. I need to look in the parts book again just to make sure. The instructions I've got are from the Haynes manual, and they're not great. I have to be honest. It's a bit confusing because they're talking about multiple models and there's slight differences between them. So you're reading one bit and then you realize that's not relevant to this bike. It's different. In order to get that primary gear off, I had to lock the crankshaft. So I used my little rubber oil filter remover around the gear, and then I did use an impact on that big nut on the end there. That was the easiest way to get that undone. So yeah, it all looks okay. So yeah, good degreasing here. Remove the old gasket, which has gone pretty brittle. I might put something on that to soak it. Yeah, bit sludgy, but I think it'll all clean up nicely if I can weld up this lug, which now I'm a lot more confident about doing that now it's off the engine. To make sure I don't lose these dowels. Should be two of them. Yep. And I can basically start putting it all back together. It still needs a bit of a clean. This was filthy. This was, no, not that one. What was filthy? Oh, inside here. So it still is, but there was a massive buildup of gunk in here. So I'm wondering if this oil seal, maybe I need to replace that. I think maybe it won't be so bad to, that may just pull out now. Now I've gone this far, I might as well pop it out, replace all the oil seals. It looked more like grease or chain oil to me rather than oil that had built up. It was really thick. So I had to literally scrape that off, chunks of it. But that's the output shaft. I'm going to end up dismantling the gearbox as well, aren't I? I can just see it now. Yeah, that'll all come apart. And then you have to get that selector all back in place. Oh well, if you can get it, if it goes together, you can get it apart and put it back together, hopefully. But I think that's probably where I'm going to leave it for tonight. It's okay. I've found neutral. hadn't dropped into the bottom of the crankcase. It's just the drag on the gears. That's actually a neutral there. If I hold both shafts, or if I hold one shaft, you can turn it without it trying to turn it. So that's neutral. I have to think which way around this goes. It might be reversed. I think, is that first? Doesn't have to move very far. I think that's top there. Really interesting though to actually see one of these for the first time.